good evening, and welcome. Tonight, I have a very special treat for you guys. I am joined by a special guest, an animal expert, and an ASMR genius. His name is Dulce Etones, and he's here tonight to present to you some real animal facts. So, without further ado, let's hear from Dulce Etones.
Yo, 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 it's your boy, Dulce Etones, and I'm coming at ya with a collab. When your girl, ASMR Geographica, told me that she was doing a video on Antarctica and she wanted to collab, I knew I had to come at you with some real animal facts. This time, I'm going to cover one of the most interesting animals in the wild, the walrus. Autobenus rosmaris is a large pinniped that is subdivided into two subspecies, the Atlantic walrus and the Pacific walrus. The term walrus is thought to come from the Dutch words wal, meaning shore, and reus, meaning giant. A male walrus is called a bull, while a female is a bullarina. A group of walrus is called a smorgasbord. Walrus is an invariant noun, which means the plural of walrus is walrus. One can use wallari to denounce plural, but it's not common. The walrus is a very large mammal. They have been known to grow over 2 stories tall and weigh in excess of 1 ton. The term walrus is actually an acronym. It stands for Watchful Arctic Lurkers, Resilient, Unstoppable Sentinels. Just know that even in a zoo, the walrus has their eye on you. The walrus's muscles have a tensile strength of over 9,000 kpsi. Nowhere is truly safe for humanity while the walrus are around. If I can use an analogy that I think we can all understand, the walrus are the androids and we are Goku. One of the things that are most terrifying about the walrus are their tusks. Tusks are present in both male and female walrus. They are elongated canines. They can grow up to 3 feet long and weigh up to 12 pounds and are razor sharp. One walrus tusk can pierce through a solid wooden door. Ancient Inuit people would use pieces of a walrus tusk as a needle for sewing their garments. They were highly valued because of the amount of human life that was lost for every one tusk gained. The base amount of tusks for a walrus is 2, but they are known to obtain many more. Each time a walrus takes a human life, they grow a new tusk. The walrus have been a problem throughout history, and here I have an ancient document as proof. This is from the Europeans, and it shows this document contains a passage about a walrus working together with a carpenter to bamboozle clams. In the end, the clams are devoured by the walrus. Don't get me wrong, I don't trust clams either. What are they hiding in those shells? But I do not feel they deserve that kind of fate. In reading this text, I'm pretty sure it's documenting an historical event that actually happened. Here are some more rapid-fire, real animal facts. Walrus can communicate with a complex system of Morse code by tapping their flippers on the ice. They love to play the ukulele. They are known to serenade other sea creatures. Full-grown walrus have the unique ability to time travel using their tusks as a mystical conduit. They can fly when there is a full moon. They glide menacingly through the night sky using their flippers as wings. Now, let me read to you an excerpt from my untitled autobiography. It is called The Walleye and I. The wind howled through the desolate Arctic night, rattling the frosted windows of the cabin. Inside, I was huddled near the crackling fire, my breath visible in the dim, flickering light. It had been 3 days since I'd seen another living soul. The isolation did not bother me, not initially. The first sign was the tusk marks on the wooden walls, deep grooves carved with unnatural precision. The next was the rhythmic thumping against the cabin's foundation late at night, but it wasn't until I saw them, their beady black eyes, peering through the swirling snow, that the terror truly set in. Walrus. Not the clumsy, lumbering creatures I had known from the documentaries, but something else, larger, smarter. They moved with purpose, watching, waiting. At first, I thought the isolation was playing tricks on me, but the evidence was undeniable. They were testing the cabin's weaknesses, probing its defense. I saw them through the frost-covered windows, standing eerily still, their long, yellowed tusks reflecting the pale moonlight. Sometimes they bellowed deep, guttural calls that sent vibrations through the windows, the wooden planks of the cabin. I barricaded the doors, reinforced the windows with furniture, and rationed my supplies. Panic clawed at my mind. I had a rifle with limited ammunition and a hunting knife, but against a horde of calculating beasts it felt woefully inadequate. I tried the radio, static. The generator sputtered and died on the 4th night, plunging the cabin into darkness. That is when they became bolder. The first breach happened just after midnight. A thunderous crash shook the cabin as a walrus rammed the back wall. Wood splintered, and the wind screamed through the gap. I fired a warning shot through the hole. The gunshot reverberated across the frozen landscape. It brought me time, but not peace. The siege had truly begun. Night after night they returned, growing more daring. Their enormous flippers pressed against the window glass, testing the integrity. I could hear their hot breath, hot and thick, seeping through the cracks. Sleep became impossible. Hunger gnawed at my insides. I hallucinated shadows moving in the corner of my vision. The walls groaned under the relentless assault. I knew I could not stay locked inside forever. In the darkness of my despair, a memory came back to me. It was an animalistic, primal memory. It was of my grandfather. He taught me the secrets of fighting the walrus. It was a secret technique known as the walrus knuckle. I never needed it in my life, until now. It had been so long since I had practiced, but I couldn't outgun them. Maybe I could outmatch them in brutality. If they wanted a beast, I would give them one. On the 7th night, as the smorgasbord of walrus gathered, their forms shifted like ghosts beyond the swirling snow. I smeared my body with the blood from my last remaining rations. I tore my shirt, wrapped the rags around my fists like gauntlets. I let out a guttural roar, answering their call, challenging them on their own terms. I burst from the cabin, bare-chested in the freezing cold, wild-eyed and snarling. The walrus hesitated. I dove into them, hacking, biting, a creature reborn in violence. The battle was chaos. Flippers pounded against me. Tusks slashed through the night. Blood, mine and theirs, splattered across the snow. I fought with raw instinct, rolling through the melee. A pivot of my heel delivered a knuckle-crushing blow directly to one of their temples. I pressed my advantage. I launched into a rapid series of brutal strikes, each one mimicking the powerful blows of a walrus's flippers. My fists blurred as I released the 1,000-knuckle barrage. I hammered the beast's thick hide with precision. The walrus roared in agony. The others hesitated, their beady eyes reflecting something they hadn't expected: fear. I howled into the night. One by one, the creatures turned, slinking back into the darkness. I stood victorious, or so I thought. One walrus remained. The biggest one I had ever seen. The beast was a massive, scarred walrus. The creature regarded me with cold, dead eyes, the eyes of something that had seen man before. It lunged at me with incredible speed. A wall of blubber and muscle smacked into me. It sent me sprawling on the ice. I scrambled up, gasping only to feel a sudden, sharp pain in my side. A tusk. I tried to counterattack, but it was fruitless. With a roar, The monster swung one of its massive flippers. The blow struck me with apocalyptic force. My entire left side of my ribcage collapsed. I was airborne before I felt the pain, sent cartwheeling like a rag doll across the ice. My vision blurred. The taste of blood filled my mouth. I tried to rise, but my body refused. The walrus loomed over me, tusks dripping, eyes filled with ancient fury. My grandfather's voice rang in my ears. He told me it was time. I coughed, spat red onto the ice, and clenched my fist. I had one final move. I summoned the last of my strength and stood upright. I entered into the ultimate stance, the final walrus knuckle. The walrus nodded. It understood. We charged at the same time, man and beast, warrior and god. I threw my fist forward with every ounce of my soul, the punch destined to shatter mountains and rewrite history. The walrus swallowed me whole. The great beast let out one final, victorious bellow, then it and its fellows sank beneath the sea undefeated. The walrus had fought man before. It would fight man again, and it would always win. How do you breathe?
Carefully.
Like, all right. The walrus is a very large mammal. They have been known to grow over 2 stories tall and weigh in. Take 2.